Hey everyone, Jennifer Jensen with Sutton Ridge Farm.
And Meghan Rittmaster with Foundational Journey.
So today we're going to continue on with our food and family theme, because family is our highlight of the year, and food brings the family together.
Totally.
Yeah, so we're March 1st today, and we are in a space that we have in our home, kind of a greenhouse area, and we are going to be talking about gardens and how a garden can really bring your family together. Yeah. So we were talking earlier about how the food brings us together, but the growing of the food also can bring you together too, and just increase and strengthen those relationships that you have. And you'll be pushed probably to the limit with some things and get irritated, but that's what you work through, and that just makes everyone stronger in their relationships.
It's the resilience.
It is the resilience part of it, yes. So coming around food and growing it ourselves obviously is not a new idea. We've been doing that since the beginning of time. But as a culture, I guess, I'm thinking of the Victory Gardens. Victory Gardens, if you're not familiar with those, was something that was our government, I guess. I don't know if it originated with them, but they really pushed it during the World War I and II eras to just get everyone to rally around having enough food, ample food for not civilians, but also for our soldiers too. But as the industrialization of food came about, we as a culture have moved away from the land, essentially. And we have become very dependent on our industrialized food system and industrialized farms. And we can have that power back in our own hands by doing a simple thing as having your own garden. It's interesting, I was reading, we're all familiar with the different food issues of the day. And I was reading an article yesterday, so that was February 28th, out of the UK. And they are now putting restrictions on the number of fresh fruits and vegetables that you can buy.
Gosh.
So they were limiting per person 3 tomatoes, 3 cucumbers, and 3 peppers. And Aldi is another store that we have here in the US, and they have been implementing similar restrictions, is what this article said. And we're all right now seeing the huge inability to get eggs right now. Eggs are like the rock star of food right now because you can hardly get them. So if you're able to have your own backyard chickens, I obviously encourage that.
Yeah.
And if you've been thinking about it, why not this year? Mm-hmm. I know, well, you may have some issues getting chicks, but you'll have to kind of do some research on that for your own area by yourself. But I would encourage you to do it. So some negative factors that have been bombarding us about food lately and affecting how we get it is on inflation, our supply chains, the trucking, people not willing to work.
Yeah.
has been another big problem. Fertilizers, and all of this just added to the common factor that's always been an issue with growing your own food is the weather. Mm-hmm. It's not like we suddenly have big issues with the weather. Weather has always been a factor due to this huge molten lava globe called Earth that we live on. I mean, there's just weather patterns.
Yep.
Okay? So that through all of this, ultimately our reliance is on God for allowing the food to grow. We do our part, we put the seed in the ground, we should water it, and we've got hoses now and stuff, and different ways. Most of us are not completely 100% dependent on the rain, but He ultimately gives the fruit. So it's not all just about a negative reason to start a garden either. So in this video today, you can see kind of there's seeds out and soil and all this stuff, but this video isn't going to be about how to start seeds and everything necessarily. There are a lot of resources out there.
Yeah.
U of M, your university extension, master gardeners and stuff. But really today, this video is about encouraging you to do your own garden. Yeah. So there's many positive reasons.
Totally.
To start a garden. So what are some that come to mind for you right away?
The fresh nutrients, the quality of your food, the quantity, being able to, grow as much of one thing as you want. Like if you love to make your own or love salsa, you can make your own salsa and, have that on hand. But the quality and the amount of nutrients that you get from your foods is going to be way different than what you will find in the store. And so that is one big reason that I tell people, the grounding effect. So getting your hands in dirt is going to help your gut bacteria. It's going to help your body stay in balance. There's ions in the soil that communicate with our cells and help our cells. It is also peaceful. Like it brings almost like I don't want to necessarily call it a meditative type state, but kind of in a way, like it's very calming.
Well, you're just away from phones and all the bombardment of the media that we have. Just is so much a part of our normal lives that it's nice to step out of that for a while.
Yes, you're getting your hands in roots while you're going back to your roots.
Yes, and just the exercise and the sunshine and all of these things. And just even this might even be a new thing for you. So the education part of it as well. And we were talking earlier about this, but with our kids, we need to be teaching them how to care for themselves. How to grow their own food. This is very important because we have gotten so far away from agriculture. Used to be that everyone knew someone that was either owned a farm or grew up on a farm or something like that. But we are many generations now away from that. And we really need to start bringing those skills of just survival back to our kids and to ourselves. So it's an education thing too, which is really cool.
And it's fun to see the kids get excited too. And to have a kid where you're just like, here, try that, pick it off and try it. And you get to see them and their brains working on discovering the flavors from that food. And I don't know. I love watching a kid through their eyes, just exploring the world and taking in every detail. And so gardening it allows for that in a different sense. And I love it.
Well, and it's even just the reward of it. I mean, I think of when my kids were little, potatoes. So planting a potato is a little bit of a step of faith, because you don't know it's below the ground, so you take care of this plant, you hill it and you pick off potato beetles if you need to. I mean, all this, you care for this plant and then it's ready to harvest, and you stick that shovel in and it's like, how many potatoes are we going to get, and it's just was fun to see the kids, some, and depending on the variety, of course, too, if you're doing fingerlings or or not, or a russet, whatever. It's that excitement of how many potatoes, so you planted one potato seed and you might get a dozen potatoes under that plant. Well, that's really cool. So that's the learning thing for the kids, for your own self. It's just wow, I got 12, it's really awesome,
And appreciation. Too, because, you're putting in all that hard work. The kids are putting in that hard work too. You have so much more appreciation when you are working for your food than I can just go pick that up at the store. It just, there's there's freedom.
The freedom. Oh yeah. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So, but just going back to the satisfaction that you get too, it's not all rosy either because you may have planted some sort of vining food, say a squash or something, and you've got this beautiful plant out there, and then a vine borer comes. A vine borer will get in right at the heart of it and they'll just eat that and they'll kill the whole plant. And all of a sudden you'll start to see your long vines that are like 12 feet long wither and die. So, I mean, it also teaches us to deal with disappointment, because disappointment, frustration is a part of life. We just want everything so fast these days, and everything is supposed to be so perfect. And you can see that, you know, okay, I grew these carrots, and maybe a little slug got in and ate kind of the shoulder of the carrot or something. Well, it doesn't mean you have to throw the whole carrot out, you know, but you can look at that, you can say to your kids, whatever, you know, well, we'll just cut that off. The rest of the carrot, the 7 inches below that is just fine. So you learn to be resourceful and kind of start implementing some common sense. I mean, because, you know, you grew that, you're not going to throw that out.
No.
So it really, it's so encompassing. You know, it helps with food waste. And because you buy something, you're not as connected to it.
Yeah,
and you're more
totally.
likely, oh, I don't like this, or it's just something about it. I'm full. I'm going to throw it out.
Yep.
Trust me, you are not going to be doing that when you raise your own food.
Right.
It's I saw it with my own kids, the way they would take care of the animals and stuff. With, you know, we finally came to a point when our kids would have friends over that, because my kids saw waste. They'd stay overnight or whatever, and they wouldn't eat all their breakfast. They wouldn't eat all their bacon. Like, who doesn't eat all their bacon, you know? But anyway, it happened once. And I saw my son watch as his friend, like, got up to, he's like, oh, where's your garbage, you know? And we're just all like, and he was thinking, do you know every day how I fed the pigs, you know, and now you're going to throw away that bacon?
Yeah.
And so then we came to the point where we said, okay, this is how we function in this house. You know, we don't throw food away because we work for it and stuff. And we said, you can have as much as you want. You just need to eat what you take.
Yeah.
So there's just life learning skills that can all come around gardening. It's really quite amazing.
I love it.
Yeah. So we were going to talk now. Okay. So we're just going to promote a couple of things that we've got coming up, and we've got some show notes here or whatever. We'll put it in the listing. Just kind of like what things that you can be doing to, how do I start seeds? What do I do? And we'll list that and stuff. Yeah. I wanted to point out a couple things though. When you do get your seed starter mix. So I grabbed this one at the store, but I want you to make sure that it is a seed starting mix. Because if you use a garden soil, it's too heavy for seeds. So what can happen when you're watering in these little plugs, when you're watering on top, you can get, you can get like a little crust on top. So your seed, it's just a delicate little seed, and that may have trouble pushing up through the soil and emerging. So just make sure you get a soil starter mix. And then after these are a few weeks old, they call it getting the first 2 true leaves. Then I up pot to a 4-inch pot. And then I'll use garden soil in here. And then it's fine because it's already up. You've got your seedlings started and you're good to go.
I do have one question. Do you recommend for the seed starter organic versus not organic, or?
That's a good question. So with the seed starter, you know, I guess to me, I'm not as much of a stickler about that.
Yeah.
I would be more of a stickler about using organic seed, or for sure, you know, like non-GMO.
Yep.
Because this is just kind of getting them started.
Yep.
And if you're using organic amendments in an organic soil and using organic gardening methods while you raise that plant, to me, that would be more important.
I love it. That is super helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, oh, for sure. So some promotion of some things that we've got coming up. And there will be more details in the email that you get attached to this. But we're going to have a wellness workshop coming up on May 6th. We'll have some plants for sale in case you didn't get your seeds done, but not a whole lot, not a whole lot. Oh, and just as far as like the seed starting, yeah, I think I mentioned that. There's lots of resources out there as to how to do that. So that's why we're not focusing on it
And
here.
it doesn't have to get expensive. Like
Right.
it can easily get really expensive. There are ways and there's resources out there that will help you with what you have at home. So
You had an idea with why don't you talk about the toilet paper thing?
yeah, so save your toilet paper rolls, your paper towel rolls. The toilet paper rolls you can cut in half so that you have, 2 circles that you can then use a tray, put the seeds in there with the seed starter mix, and then eventually, you can keep repotting that. You don't necessarily have to have the plastic trays. If you go through toilet paper or paper towels like we do at our house, which we're working on. But when you have little kids, you go through a lot of those rolls. But that's just one way. And then you can eventually put it into the garden. It decomposes. So, or composts. There we go. So it's earth friendly.
It's earth friendly. Yeah. And I was going to say too, I have had these same little, they call them seed starting plugs. And, but I have had these for so many years, and where I originally got them is from a nursery that was throwing them out. Because,
nice.
Yeah, and so I said, well, could I have them? And I've been using these for about 10 years now.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, no, so you can be resourceful, definitely. But yeah, so we've got the wellness workshop coming up, and at that workshop too, so since we're all about family working together, learning and stuff, we're going to have a homeschool mother of 4 that's going to join us at that workshop, and she's going to talk to us about how she has motivated her kids over the last few years to get them to help in the garden. And the kids right now are age 4 to 11, so they're very capable of helping. And anyway, I won't steal her thunder, but that'll be a really fun thing to come and see. So if you want to come with your kids, we'll have the pricing and all that stuff on the website or in the email. And but we would encourage you to come and get really motivated and have a garden this year. So we are encouraging the gardens. Not everyone has a place for a garden. Maybe you live in an association where they don't allow that or something. We're just going to kind of, I don't know, I guess maybe this food thing has just really kind of been bearing down on me. And so we want to give opportunity for you to have a garden. We all have the details in the email, but we're going to be making some garden plots available. So Freedom Gardens is what they're going to be. And so there'll be 10 by 20 foot plots. So that's 200 square feet. That's a lot of space. And there'll be some ideas for garden planning. I think I'll put a link or something like that, but you can find garden planners and stuff. And this, you can get really overwhelmed with all of this too. So I would just encourage you to focus on just some basics, beans, do some potatoes, beets, carrots if you want. Carrots can be a little bit finicky, but just kind of, tomatoes. Tomatoes are so easy. Some cucumbers. Yeah, just some easy basic ones, kind of foundational foods for many other things. And then we're also waiting on this, so I'll have to let you know, but we've contacted a master gardener group in our area. And so we're just kind of waiting to hear from them to see if they're going to be able to come out a couple times and answer all your questions and talk about gardening and stuff too. So just kind of stay tuned for that.
One of the biggest things that I can really tell people is when it comes to your health and well-being and getting to the root of, staying at an optimal health or staying at optimal health, whatever that means for you, having the energy to enjoy life, to fully thrive, you need to get to the root. And food is a root. So we need to get as clean as possible as we can with our foods. And one way of doing that is really to control your own food. So, yeah.
And you can, and you have, and that's why we call them freedom gardens, because you have the freedom to be able to make choices and control what goes into your body. And, I'm not going to lie, it's going to take some work. But that is part of it, that gratification and the hard work that you put into it, you will reap the rewards in so many ways.
I seriously had chills when you said that. Also a little teary-eyed because it's very important to me. So yeah, I love this. Thank you for doing this.
No, we're excited. We're doing this together, and Meghan's got some great news too. So I know she's kind of shy about this stuff, but I want you just shared something with me. You just got a new, because this gal knows her stuff about nutrition. And so what did you just get?
So I am officially an Integrative Functional Nutrition certified practitioner. So I have that credential now. It's all about getting to that root cause, and food is medicine. Food heals. And so that's what that's what I'm trying to bring to people, is healing through food and, holistic lifestyles. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. So we're trying to help you live a life so that you don't have to go see her.
Yes.
But if you need help, she's there. And of course, you're already a registered dietitian, and you've got a whole bunch of letters behind her name. So this is just one more layer that she's added. So we congratulate her on that.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, indeed. So with that, be watching for stuff coming up. We're super excited about the year for 2023 and meeting you guys. And there's just some other fun stuff. If you get a garden plot here, we're kind of forming like a little food community. Just know that there's more to come, but this is kind of a start of it. And so we would love to have you on board. We would love to meet you, to meet your kids, and just do this together. So
with that said, we hope that seed was planted. And you ponder on that and start sprouting.
Yeah, there we go. All right. We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Yeah.